Hello, Scripting Sense here. This is a tutorial on methods, functions, and events. I'm guessing you've probably seen wait1 in a script before. You've probably also seen print hello world. So these are basic examples of methods. And you've probably realized that wait1 tells the script to wait1, and print hello world tells the script to print hello world. So from this we can say a method is like an operation with parentheses. But if I run wait, and if I run print, by default this will wait 1/30th of a second, or 35th, and this by default will print nothing. So I'm just going to print done, so you can see that there's a gap here where it prints nothing in the output. Suppose we want to wait 5 seconds instead of 1/30th of a second or 1 second. And let's say we want to print line 10 instead of nothing, or instead of printing hello world. Line 10. Forgot the parentheses here. And then wait 5. If we run this, you'll see it prints line 10 in the output. So what goes inside the parentheses is almost a specific request that we have for the operation. So here I'm specifically requesting that it prints line 10, or I'm specifically requesting it waits 5 seconds. These are called parameters, but I like to think of them as specific requests. So from this we can say that an operation, or a method, is like an operation and then a specific request, which I'll say is SR. So one example of a method is instance.new. Instance.new inserts default objects into a game, such as a default part or a default script. But if I just ran instance.new, it wouldn't really do much because there's nothing defined within the specific request. So what goes inside the specific request for the parentheses is the object or the class name of it that we're trying to create. So I'm going to go to brick1 because I know brick1 is a part, and I'm going to look at what the class name of that part is. Here you can see it's part with a uppercase P. So I'm going to write part here. If I run this, you'll see that nothing really happens. After a second, there's no part created. So if we go to instance as method on Roblox wiki, you can see that there's two specific requests. There's the class name of the part we want to create, or object, in this case a part, and then there's where we put it in. Because right now, when we say instance.new part, it creates a part, but it doesn't really put it in any part of the game, so it's sort of non-existent. So we have to define where we want to put it. So this is a second specific request, so SR2 is the parent container. So let's say we want to put a part in game.workspace. Well, then I would say comma game.workspace. If I run this, you can see I created a part here. So from this we can say that a method is like an operation with a specific request, and then a second specific request, so SR2. So SR1 and SR2, and then etc. Because many methods have multiple or more than two specific requests or parameters. So again, an operation can have, or a method can have, just one specific request, and it can have multiple. So if I run instance.new part and then comma game.workspace, I create a part and put it in game.workspace. But what if I want to do more with the part I created? What if I want to make it like, let's say, the color cyan? So there's no specific request for color. As you can see on the wiki page, there's nowhere to edit the color here. So if I said here brick color.new cyan, this would crash the script. If I put this here, So I can't do that. So how do we access the part that we created? And to do this, I'm going to show an example of something you've probably seen in your math class, or a math class. So a function, let's just say a linear one, y equals mx plus b. So you've probably seen this in your math class where you get a table of values and you plug in different values for x and then it returns different values for y. So let's say we had the function y equals 2x plus 5. Well then, if I put in the numbers 1, 2, and 3, then it would give, or would give off, or would return 7, 9, and 11. Because let's say we put in 2 as x, or the specific request is 2, then 2 times 2 is 5, or no, is 4, plus 5 is 9. So it's important to realize that y is the outcome of this function with the specific request. So 9 is the outcome of this function with the specific request of 2. So we can say that the outcome of a method is the function of the operation with a specific request or parameter. So from this I can say part 1 equals instance.new. Then I'll just copy this part here. Part, or we just put part in game.workspace. So the part 1 we create here is the outcome of this operation here. So I'm going to say part 1 dot brick color equals brick color dot new cyan. If I run this, you'll see it creates a part that's cyan. And also just to show you that some specific requests are not needed. So I don't need to say game.workspace. I can define that afterwards by using part1.parent or part2.parent. So say part2 equals instance.new part. Then I can say part2.parent equals game.workspace. And then I can say part2.brick color equals brick color.new really red, because that's an actual brick color name. So you can see two bricks here, one where I use parent as the specific request and one where I define that afterwards. The character colon can almost be thought as of the word perform. Certain methods can be performed on objects. So the basic way to do that is object, then operation. So going out of order, if the word colon is like perform, I can say perform this operation on this object. And so one method that you would perform on an object is the method remove. So game.workspace.baseplate remove. So once again here, I'm saying perform the operation of removing on game.workspace.baseplate. So this will remove the baseplate. As you can see, it removes. And then I can use the method clone. But once again here, how do we access the clone of the baseplate we create? Then I'll have to say the outcome of the operation cloning this baseplate. So outcome equals game.workspace.baseplate clone. And then in the method for clone, you'll see that there's no specific request I can put in here, so we have to define the parent after the method. So outcome.parent equals game.workspace. Let's run this. So you can't see it, but right here there's two base plates. So I'll take this one base plate, move it down just to show you that there's two, and we only started with one, so it was cloned. So if you recall from the last example in hierarchy and properties, we made a script that moves this platform to the end, cycling over and over again. by disabling itself and enabling itself. Well, I'm going to show you how we can, instead of using properties, we can change brick1 to appear and disappear with methods. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to make the brick1, or I'm just going to make it in its appeared state. So transparency equals 0, and can collide equals false, or true. Can collide equals true. So then, in the first line after the script is disabled, I'm going to say game.workspace.brick1 clone, and then I have to refer to it as something, so I'll say b1 equals. Then I'm instantly going to delete brick1 in workspace with removing. So I create a copy of it in its appeared state, and then I remove it instantly so it looks like it's disappeared. Then when it has to appear, instead of using transparency and collide, I can just say b1.parent equals game.workspace. Then here, when we make brick1 disappear again by changing its transparency to invisible and can collide to fall throwable, we can just say b1 remove. There's a problem though, because if we run the script, b1, the clone, is removed, and then there's nothing, and then brick1 is no longer in game.workspace. So if the script were to run again, there wouldn't be any brick1 to clone. So right here I'm going to say r1 for recovery 1 equals b1 clone. And then again, there's no parent for r1 right now. So then at the very end, I can say r1.parent equals game.workspace. So here I have a clone of brick1 that's not in any parent, or it's not in any container. And so at the very end, I put r1 back into the game.workspace, but then almost instantaneously it is cloned, because r1 is game.workspace.brick1. So instantaneously it's cloned, and then it's removed again. And then the cycle will continue. So if I run this, it works as normal.